Luka had the game winner. Big win in OT, 127-125 for LA.
That's really the game winner right there to me.
Yeah, well, that's, you can make that argument. Doncic finishes with 30, 11, and 13. Reaves, 32 points. Jokic with his customary triple-double, 24, 16, 14. Jamal Murray with 5 points, 1 of 14 from the field. That happens sometimes with Jamal Murray. It's so frustrating. However, the Lakers do have the tiebreaker, should we need that, because they've won the season series. 8 of their last 9 have been victories. They've beaten the Knicks, the T-Wolves, and now the Nuggets. And the only loss was also against Denver. That was on the road.
Yeah.
Again, I say this every time we talk Lakers. I don't get them. What's happening?
Well, first of all, Luka is on an absolute heater. Like, he is, sorry, he is scoring in so many different ways. He is being more efficient. And when you can get 60, 65 points a night from AR and Luka, this team is even more dangerous. And you sprinkle in 20 to 25 points from guys like Rui and Smart. They add Luke Kennard at the deadline, who provides more shooting. And then you have LeBron James doing what LeBron James does, is kind of all those little things, the point forward type of guy. The play, I don't even know if we have the video of it. There was a play where he absolutely put his whole body and dove on the floor at 41 years old. I'm like, it is ridiculous the kind of effort that he's still bringing to this team. So, yes, are they still not a great defensive team? No doubt. Are they a poor rebounding team, an offensive rebounding team? No doubt. But when AR can do what he's doing and Luka's hitting shots like this, and what's he averaging? 30, 38 points, 39 points over the last stretch here. Like, this is why this team has a chance, because they are so explosive offensively. Now they're going to have to score 140, 150 points a game in a playoff series, because they cannot get stops. But when they get going like this offensively, they're one of the best offenses in the NBA.
Yeah, they've taken a lot of heat, Lou, and it's been kind of funny to watch. I mean, they're sitting third in the West.
It's crazy. This team's third in such a good conference.
You wouldn't know the way we sort of speak of them in the collective we. Luka averaging in his last 5, 38, 48% from the field, 41% from 3, almost 10 rebounds, 8 assists a game. Tim McMahon over at ESPN said, and I think this is actually funny because of the way we talk about basketball, that now Luka's actually underrated because of how much criticism he's been taking as of late. I kind of love the theory on this, Lou. What do you think?
Not buying. Listen, Beetle, Chandler, y'all already know my rule. You can't make $100 million and be underrated.
Fair.
How about 200?
How about 200? Right. And especially if your name is Luka Doncic, you can't be an underrated basketball player in the National Basketball Association and play on the Lakers and average 38 points over a course of a season in stretches. You can't be underrated. I understand what the point that he's trying to get across. It's kind of going under the radar compared to some of the media coverage and attention that some of these other guys are getting. But that's who the Lakers need Luka to be. They need him to be a dynamic scorer and put 30 to 35 on a plate every single night for them to be able to eat. That's who they have to be. I think the Lakers should lean into being a team and say, hey, we're a decent defensive team. We don't jump off the paper. We have our struggles. You know who we are? We need to be a high caliber scoring offensive team, and let's just lean into it. Let that be our identity. We need to go out and put 135, 140 on the board every single night for us to go out there and have a successful night and beating some of these top teams in the West and giving ourselves a chance to come out of the West and compete for a championship. We got to absolutely outscore everybody. And that's what Luka Doncic is. That's why you bring in somebody like him, because it's only 1 or 2 guys around it. Well, actually, it's nobody in the world that outscores Luka Doncic and him being the leading scorer in the league. He's that type of guy. So if that is the makeup of your best player on your team right now, you got to lean into that being your identity. So I think the Lakers have found something, or I think they know something. They're just in denial about it and wanting to be a top-rated defensive team. At the end of the day, you have a top-rated offensive player, and in order for you to get the best out of him, you got to kind of make your team to a dynamic that works the best for him to get the best out of that. And I think in this last, 8 to 9 game stretch where he's averaged 38 points a game, they've been able to show that, and they've had success in them doing that. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm just leaning all the way into just outscoring teams, period.
Averaging 38 is wild.
And I think the narrative early on and throughout the season has been he's just putting up a lot of points on a very mediocre so-so team.
Yeah, it's fair.
Now they're winning, and he's scoring and being more efficient than ever. So when you start talking about those MVP standings, and you see kind of the Pistons falling off a little bit, and Cade Cunningham kind of having some stinkers, SGA and Jokic, it's still right there for him. Jaylen Brown's still been great, but how could you not talk about this guy in MVP now when you're looking at the 3rd best team in the Western Conference, and they're loaded, and he's leading the NBA in scoring, and he's playing his best basketball right now down the stretch, getting them in prime position. Like,
can't do this.
I like him or hate him, you got to put him in the conversation too with MVP right now.
He is technically in the MVP conversation year after year. It's been quiet this time for the first time, long time.
They're third in the West. Like,
I know.
It's one thing if they're 6 or 7, like they've kind of been
third.
flirting with. They're the third best team in the Western Conference, who we know is loaded.
They are third. They are in that sort of jumbled mess as far as record-wise, and they do have a pretty interesting 6-game road trip coming up. I will read to you who they will be playing. They got 2 against Houston, at Heat on the second night of a back-to-back, Magic, Pistons, and then they finish up with the Pacers, Lou. What do you want to see from the Lakers? Like, what can they prove on the 6-game road trip coming up?
Well, they just got to stay steady and stay where they are, right? Like, if you're on fire right now and you like where you are, don't lose your position at this point in the season. You know, they've flirted with that third spot in the West for a lot of time in this season. They've been there for a lot of time in this season, and they've even slid all the way to 6 and maybe a 7 for a game or 2. But now that I'm back in the position that I've consistently been in the season, don't give it up. And this is a schedule that's going to be tough, but you can get out of it and be 4 out of 6 or what do you have? Like these 2 games at Houston. You can go and get both of these or one of these. Miami is going to be a favorable game for them. Orlando, Detroit, Indiana is obviously going to be a favorable game. But these are great matchups for them. If you can come out of this 6-game road trip with 3 or 4 of these and continue to stay in the spot that you're in, I think that's a successful trip, especially going east. If you're going east and teams that you don't feel like match up to the Western Conference as strongly as they've matched up against each other, I think this will be a great road trip for the Lakers.
3-3 seems good.
The back-to-back in Houston is going to be interesting because that's a team that I think has been kind of right there with them, and that will kind of give us a good idea of where they stand. Orlando's been a hot team. I think they've won 8 of the last 10. Detroit, we know how good they are. But I think this would be a nice test for them to go on the road. And yeah, if they can win 5 of these,
5,
then we know exactly who they are and what they're capable of. But again, I think it's got to take it one game at a time. But I'm very interested to see those 2 in Houston.
Now you say 5. What would be the loss?
Detroit.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm looking at, and I'm thinking Detroit, and then that back-to-back, that's kind of tricky right there. Having back-to-back games in the same arena against the same team that can make adjustments one way or another for you. Those are going to be the 2 tricky games for me.
All right, fair enough.
Make it 3. I'm sorry.
I think 3-3 is golden. Jokic, 27th triple-double
he's
of
pretty good.
the season. Over the weekend, George Karl said that his MVP award should actually be 5 because he did lose. That was the controversial year with Joel Embiid. Everybody's arguing all the time. And then, of course, he lost to SGA. You buy on that? 5?
Yeah, and LeBron should have 13.
Also fair.
Like, it's not always the best player that gets the MVP award. And again, we always have difficulty, especially on our show. How are you voting? Who's the most valuable?
Daily.
Like, I still think Cade Cunningham is the most valuable player on their team. I think they're great with him. I think they're bad without him. So Jokic, to me, I think he's the best player in the world. I think he's solidified himself as that, even with how good SGA's been, how good Luka's been, Giannis. Like, there's so many great players in this league. But, yeah, I mean, Jokic is at the top of his game, and he's just so good. He makes everyone else around him better. Obviously, not the best defender, but what he does offensively night in, night out, with just triple-doubles in his sleep, is something that we've never seen before, ever, from that position. So, like, it is super impressive. And, yeah, I mean, he have more for sure, but that doesn't always go to the best player.
Well, the good news is for fans of the league, there are a lot of dudes every year that are really, really good. And that's why he doesn't have 5. So I got no issues with that. But I appreciate George Karl having his back. We are going to take a very quick